Hello from the newborn bubble. That was a muesli bar. This is the reality of having a newborn baby. You're mostly in bed and it's lovely. I wanted to do this video because I have been trapped under a baby, either breastfeeding or sleeping, although I might switch her out now in a minute. But I've been watching a load of different videos on YouTube, podcasts, and mostly sewing. Now, I think it's sewing mostly because it's warm, it's in the summertime. I had a summer baby. So, and we managed to get her out before it got too hot, which is delicious and wonderful. Even though it's Ireland, it never gets too hot. But yeah, I wanted to maybe do a video of the things that I wanted to make in order to keep my sanity, because I am a crafter. If you know me, I know, baby. If you know me, if this is your first time to my channel, this is the reality of newborn life, and there's no makeup, there's no tidying going on, and it's fine. It's all fine. So the first thing that I wanted to make was a quilt for my baby. So I'll show you here the quilt that I made. I also made a stunning blanket, which you can see here actually, and it is the most used thing. I haven't actually used the quilt at all. But this blanket is a hap blanket, which I made out of, it's a knitted design. The center is a garter stitch corner to corner with some holes, like a cellular blanket. I know, baby. Am I talking too much? She was sleeping. And then a feather and fan design out the side. And I used a gradient, what's this called? It's also baby brain. A gradient minis, set of minis from Sweet Georgia. I used, so, and I'll show you some pictures of that just here. One of the things I really liked was the shape of this blanket. It was just a simple square, but it was a traditional hap shape. So I was able to string it out and block it in the traditional hap way. And I managed to use one of my old shop stands to do that. And that was incredibly satisfying. I really liked that. So I made a few other bits. So far I have made a baby a sleeping bag for her, but she is a bit too big or too small for it yet. But I really did enjoy the quilted wrap that I made, and I can't remember exactly the name of the person who wrote the design, but it was a free pattern if you signed up to her newsletter. So I'm currently working on the Wellspring Designs quilted sleep sack. Somebody sent this to me, and this is actually it's a free design actually if you sign up to her. I don't know if, well, it happened that when it was sent to me, if you signed up to her newsletter, you got this free. So I'm not going to do like scrappy quilts. I'm actually going to just use this fabric because I had enough of it, and it's super cute. It's kind of Easter style, but I'm going to use single layer cotton batting, quite thin, for a summer sleep sack. And for the lining, I'm actually using an old pillowcase. So I'm just taking out it's kind of one of these kind of edged ones. And I need to take this out because I need it to reach the edges. So that's what I'm at here at the moment while I finally got her to sleep, and I'm baby wearing her, so hopefully she'll stay sleepy if I kind of sway and sway. So I printed off the pattern and I sorted all that out. So because I've only got a giant one of these, and I want a smaller one and a lighter one as well for the summer. So that's what I'm doing today. Look how cute this is going to be. Little neckline, adorable. So this is the final project. It doesn't quite fit her yet. It's a bit big, but it's lovely. Really enjoyed that. Now the next couple of projects that I want to make are I really want to make a couple of wet bags. I made a few, but they're actually way too small. I'm gonna start using those small ones for wipes, actually reusable wipes. And one of my friends, Lisa, thank you so much, sent me on a load of terry cloth kind of or cotton or some I don't know what type they are, but they're great, and they're just wipes. They're just reusable wipes. So I'm going to start using them for those, because in the wet bags they'll actually stay wet for a little while. So when we're out and about, or even during night when I just don't want to get up out of bed and wet the nappies or wet the wipes. Yeah, and I also want to. I've ordered some PUL, and it is coming to me from the UK via a suitcase in an in-law's suitcase at the end of August. So I hopefully plan to make a couple of wet nappies as well, nappy covers specifically, because I am enjoying using those more than the all-in-one diapers. I just find the all-in-ones tend to leak way more, and they're harder to dry. They're out there hanging for days and days, and you're like, whereas the terry cloth flat nappies just dry in seconds. And also I use them all the time for breastfeeding, for split ups, for everything really. So I actually think I might buy another packet of those terry towels. I was looking at the pre-folds. I was thinking about buying some stuff to make pre-folds, but at the same time I was just like, the terry cloths are so cheap. Like so much cheaper. You get like 20 for the same price as 2 pre-folds. So I was like, I'm gonna get those. What I really wanted to make as well is a changing mat. A changing mat with padding, like a travel changing mat, because we have one which actually came with a bag that I bought, and we use it all the time. So I basically want to make one from an old shower curtain, and I don't know if the binding is kind of nice on it. I don't know, we'll see. So I wanted to make some of that, one of those, maybe a couple of them actually. They're really handy. So I wanted to make one of those, and I also saw a really cool one which had a kind of where you fold it down into like a small little packet. I was like, that's cute. So I wanted to make that as well. That is my plan. I was also half thinking about making some little romper suits, or maybe just some trousers and tops out of some of James's old big t-shirts, and some of my old t-shirts as well, because I know that these ones, I bought them. I'm slipping down the whole time. I bought them, and they're just going to be, they're kind of already covered in baby fluids. And yeah, so they're not going to last very long, but I do want to maybe have a plan to use them for baby clothes in the future. Yeah, so there's some of my ideas for sewing. I also have a couple of babies in the family. So I am currently working on 2 quilts, 3 quilts actually. I've got to think about the third one. Yeah, so there's 2 quilts coming up, and they're actually for boys, but they kind of are flowery. But sure, look, babies, boys are super sweet, and they'll be lovely. They'll be fine. Yeah, so I think they'll be really, really cute. I'm working on those at the moment. That's my work in progress. So yeah, I'm going to be fitting in little clips here and there because finding time to sit down and do my makeup and have a proper podcast, like a long podcast, is no longer possible. So you're going to get lots of these little newborn real life clips. Now, I'm hoping to avoid showing her face and speaking about mentioning her name or details because it's a privacy issue that I don't really want to give away her date of birth or name or anything like that. So, because you'd use that in the future for stealing her identity or weirdness on the internet. So we're avoiding that, and hopefully we can figure out how to educate her on the internet before she dives in like we did. Yeah, anyway, that's beside the point. So all I can say is that she is growing really, really well, and she's gorgeous. She's the prettiest. I'm sorry. All other babies suck. Obviously not, but in my head, obviously, which is great. But we are getting on really, really well. I'm slipping in and out of little jobs. I've got a couple of different projects on the go. I've actually got another type of project, which is a English paper piecing project, which I'm really enjoying. And I can do that while I'm lying here in bed. So I'm like sewing away over her. Although the needles kind of freak me out a bit, but I just get over that then. And then I've also got a knitting project. Now, the knitting project hasn't got much of my love because it's so hot that I've not really felt like touching wool. But also, I don't know why. Well, no, I do know why. I got this wool from Apple Oak Fiberworks, and it's a special type of wool from, that was my stomach, by the way, if you can hear it. I'm always ravenous, breastfeeding, always starving. But it's actually wool, 100% wool with lanolin left in. And the reason that I'm knitting with that is because I'm hopefully knitting a wool cover for cloth nappies. I still don't understand how they don't leak. I know it's lanolin. I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But I'm making one and I'm gonna test it out. So we'll see how we go. I bought enough to make a couple of cloth nappies, maybe 3 or 4 cloth covers now, because I really like the idea of after using the all-in-one nappies. I think I got them special offer like €6 inside the middle aisle in Lidl, and they're lovely, but they do take forever to dry, and they do leak. Well, now they also might leak because I was using them. I don't think they're newborn size, so maybe they're just too big for her. We're going to keep using them, obviously. But I'm also waiting on a delivery of rental nappies for newborn, which is like birth to 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something like that. So that should be arriving this week sometime. Very excited. And yeah, so that's really exciting because they grow so fast at this point. It really felt silly to buy newborn nappies, newborn reusable nappies, because they are pricey. They vary from, well, in Ireland anyway, they're like they can be between €10 to €15 each. And you need to be changing a nappy like 10 to 15 times a day. And I think I nearly woke her up with my tummy there. I'm going to have to get something to eat quick. So yeah, you need to buy like 24 nappies to kind of keep you going over 2 days. So then you can wash one day. But the thing is that, again, you need drying time in there. So it really didn't feel reasonable to buy 24 newborn cloth nappies, because the birth to the other all-in-one kind of one size nappies, they really they're not from newborn, they're not from birth, obviously, because I've been trying them and they are leaking because they're just too big. So the little leg holes are just too wide. So yeah, I need to just feed her up, fill her out, and in time they'll fit fine. But yeah, so the cloth nappy, I think it's the Cloth Nappy Library. I signed up to them, and I think it was €45 for rental and postage and delivery. And yeah, it took about, you have to give them about 10 days notice. So if you want to start in Ireland, if you want to start from birth, I'd be ordering them pretty early on. Like, you can add on extra weeks for very little money, but it is about €45 to get 20 nappies or 25 nappies and all the inserts and everything. And you get a variety of different types of nappies, so you get to know which ones you like and which ones you don't. I'm really excited to get it, and we'll see what it looks like. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna try Operation Mover into the crib so I can get up and have a shower. Exotic. Yeah. I've managed the transfer. It's an hour after I filmed saying I would try and transfer her, and I think she's waking up again. No. Anyway, so this is what I'm going to turn her into. This is spare cloth. This is my breast milk. This is thingy. Oh, I wanted to show you this, actually. This, oh, sorry, that's Beans. Shh, don't tell anyone he's sleeping in the same bed as my baby. So this, I made this, and I thought, oh, sure, this will never work. But it's basically like a swaddle, like a knitted swaddle. And I was thinking, lads, she'll never fit into this. She's already fitting it. Like, she's only like, what, a month-ish? She's already fitting into it. Anyway, so it's this, I wish I'd gone down a needle size up here, but it's basically a big tube, and it's open at the end. I just did a little bit of color work down here because I was running out of this mint color, and down here I just did an extra long bit and then turned it over and did a 3 needle bind off on the inside, and then I did an I-cord, threaded it through. And it's really handy for changing a nappy in the middle of the night. But she sleeps really well in this, or she sleeps really well swaddled up in this blanket. But actually, I think she's a little bit better in this because she can kind of get out. This kind of unravels a tiny bit at night. Now, she can get her hands out of this up top. So I was half thinking about sewing down 2 little sleeves, like just sewing through and just fitting through her hands into that. Kind of like the swaddlini, if anyone has seen that. I was thinking that might be an idea, just to kind of keep her hands in and stop her startling herself. However, she sleeps very well, and she sleeps for like 2 hours at a time at night, which is grand for a newborn, so maybe I won't bother. But I absolutely love this. I think I'll make this into a pattern because it's super simple. I did a bit of increasing up here, but I think if I did a smaller needle size here and just increased just under, that would help. But the pattern down here is really cute, so I could write that up into a chart, and that would be nice, because I do need to increase a bit of revenue, because do you know what? Major hazard of breastfeeding a newborn baby in the 4th trimester is add to cart syndrome. So maybe I'll release a pattern or 2. I've been saying that for years. While I'm here, I'll just show you how I am getting on with my I'm so slow with this. I've spoken about it before 2 minutes ago on the video. But yeah, this is the lanolized wool, which is kind of greasy and a little sticky. And I really need to test it. No, I'll just make it and then I'll test it. So I'm at the point where I need to change needle size to the bigger size. I'm using a pattern which has a little bit of cute which has a really cute little detail on the ribbing, and it has some short rows as well. Can I remember the pattern? 2 seconds. It's the Curly Pearly Soaker pattern by Marnie and Joyce, and the legs on this one are just garter, but I'm gonna rib them because I want to keep everything contained. Yeah, so it's a free pattern on Ravelry and you just download it straight and it's just a PDF. I didn't see if she had it anywhere else. So I'm sorry about that, but there are a load of patterns out there they're called soakers or diaper covers or nappy covers or wool nappy covers. And there's loads of patterns out there. So you can see this kind of got a little bit of a short row situation happening there. I put in 3 short rows and I doubled up the yarn. This is DK weight. I doubled it up and I'm holding it double, just to kind of make it go faster. It's not going faster. So I'm going to get up. I might put her in the little snake swaddle because she's kind of been napping for like 45 minutes at a time and then waking up for a feed. Oh, she's got tiny feet. Oh, I forgot. She says. One thing I didn't realize. They're so funny. Like, babies are hilarious. The little faces they make and the sounds they make. She sounds like a pterodactyl. Like, and then she does these huge sighs. Like, what have you got to worry about, girl? I was there the first night in the hospital and I was just like laughing at her. Like, I was in a 4-bed ward and everyone was like, I'm sure they were like, she's crazy. I was like, your face is okay. I've made it to the kitchen dining room space. As we were transferring her, she got hungry. So I am now full face on to the jobs. Which include putting away that laundry, maybe lighting the fire. It's kind of cold. It's rainy and miserable. And generally tidying the kitchen before I start anything. Does anyone else have that you can't actually be creative unless the space around you is at least somewhat clean? I'm kind of letting that go a little bit because James is home with me still, so I'm letting him do all the dishes and stuff because I'm trapped under a baby 80% of the time. So, yeah. So what have I got? Okay, I'm in the middle of quilting that one of the quilts for my cousins. I basted them yesterday and I had to do a little bit of jigsawing with the batting because I didn't want to cut into like a big huge bit of batting so I was doing a lot of piecing of my batting, which is grand because you're not going to see that, it's going to be sewn in. So yeah, I'm in the middle of that. I found, I don't know if anyone has seen the quilting gloves, but I found gardening gloves I hadn't used which have the kind of grippy structure on the palms of the hands. And that's really helpful for when you're quilting like a large quilt. It's not even a large quilt, but it's just handy because you can kind of guide things through a little bit. I'd say it'd be really handy if I was doing the free motion quilting. But it's just helpful because I find that when I'm quilting, like pushing the 3 layers, not that I'm pushing because but when you're moving a lot of fabric through a machine, my hands do cramp up. And at the moment, my hands are kind of feeling a little bit when I'm feeding or at night if I'm co-sleeping. The position of my arms tends to make my fourth and fifth fingers, my baby finger and ring fingers, go numb, which I think is an elbow. It's a trapped nerve on the elbow situation. I've also got quite weak shoulders and stiff neck and stuff from the feeding. So yeah, I'm being careful and I'm doing a bit of exercises around that. But I'm also making sure that my crafting isn't inhibiting that too much, if you know what I mean. So we have to mind ourselves because we've got to a dependent now. So yeah, so I'm sitting here. I'm kind of looking at, I'll show you what I'm looking at. So I'm looking at this English paper piecing, I said that right, little thing here, and I'm wondering, could I hold with this hand? Look at this tiny foot. I told you it was really cute. Yeah, we'll see about that. Might be difficult to film. What's happening? What's the happy haps? Listen, miss. Less dinosaur noises, more action. Sorry, she's so funny. Yeah, okay. Let's see. All right. Number 1, get an amazingly firm boppy. None of this soft nonsense. Soft nonsense, no, you need concrete in this bad boy. So where am I here? This is what I've made. Most of it while breastfeeding, actually. Hey, you're popping off. The crack. Sometimes the extra firm boppy gives you 2 hands. She's starting to batch herself, which is the best. So I've got a few bits that I just need to sew. There's one bit here. And there's one bit here. So to find what's in this bag. Useful little what's it called? Another issue when you're breastfeeding is your brain kind of turns off because the hormones are released. It's just a little bench thing. I don't know. So I've got all my bits in here. And I think I have to use, I really need to wind off a bobbin of white yarn. I don't know where mine has gone. And then, anything useful? No. Okay. That over there and this over here. And I've got some needles here. Yes, needles. There. Oh, I have a bit of yarn there already. That's handy. And a thimble. I was actually, when hand stitching, I was using a long nail on this hand and I cut my nails for the baby and then I realized I really need a thimble. So I just bought a little plastic thimble. And yes. So. Well, you finished? No, she's not finished. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up these two. So I'm putting them right sides together. Just comme ci, comme ça. Right sides together. Now, do you know what? I actually took out the paper out of this one too early. It would have been handy to keep that in, actually. Well, are you sleepy? She's sleepy. Just let her settle there. So I've got those clipped. Got my little needle. Make sure I don't drop it on her. And I don't have any knot or anything at the end of this. Very handy not to have that. But I'm just going to do a little sewing thing. Now I you'll have to forgive me. There's not going to be a close-up here. You can imagine why. But this is generally how I do a bit of crafting while she feeds. Now, doesn't always work like this. Sometimes she's a little bit more fussy and I need to be more involved. Obviously, it just depends on your baby as well. And if you're bottle feeding, you'll definitely have both of your hands being used. What's happening? I think this is a mummy changed my nappy dance. I think it is. So when I need to pop it down for a minute, I actually just stick the needle through both of the little things there, pop it down and readjust. Maybe, is it this? Is it this? Is this what you want? I'm not sure. I'm sorry, she just went, like eyebrows and everything, like, fine. You are such a little drama queen. I love it. Also, what's this? It's too early for my hair to be falling out, surely. Okay. So it's quite a slow process, and to be honest, most of this gets done when I when she's asleep on me. I bring her up a little bit farther on my chest to burp her, and she sleeps on me, and then I can have two arms and I can do a little bit of knitting or do a little bit of crafting, do a little bit of English paper piecing here. So yeah, that's how it happens. I'm not going to show you the exact position from above. You can imagine why I do not want A, my baby's face, or B, my boobs on the interwebs. But yeah, that is how I craft. Now, I have a couple of really interesting questions from people. A lot of people were saying, or even not even questions, but one comment in particular was really interesting, that, you know, the kind of crafty community online tends to sanitize the videos, especially the mama bloggers. And I can see this, and they are incredibly lovely to look at. They are so nice to look at. They're very calming, they're very chilled. I bet they get loads of views and it works really well for them. Fabulous, more power to them. But that's really not my life. And it just makes me feel a bit bad. I don't feel bad, but it does, you know, like, it does make you feel bad. That, you know, oh my God, her house is so, like, that one corner of her house is so pretty and nice, and I have literally no corner of the house which is pretty and nice. And I'm like, is this corner nice because you can't see the bottom bit? Possibly. Maybe it's all angles. It is all angles. I know that for a fact, being a person who's filmed videos and stuff online for a long time. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting comment that someone had, that, you know, it's very difficult. There's one of her big sighs. Oh, I know, it's so stressful. She's asleep, 100% asleep. So funny. Oh no, maybe 89% asleep. But yeah, So I've just come to the end of this little side of the hexagons, and I'm just going to do another little stitch just on this corner, just to make sure it stays nice and tight. And I'm going to go through the loop. You can't see this at all. I'm going to go through the loop and effectively tie a little knot. Then what I do is I decide whether I need to make another thing. No, I'm not going to put anything in there at the moment. So I'm just going to tie this off, get little scissors and cut that. Dink. This looks dangerous. It's not in my baby. So that is, which one did I do? I did these two. So these two together. And I used a darker thread because my white thread is currently on my machine. I haven't made a bobbin. All you need is really a bobbin full in your kit of the white paper piecing, of the English paper piecing. Because, oops, oh, that's fine. Because you don't really need too much. You really don't need too much. I found when I was learning how to do the English paper piecing, when I was looking online, I found videos that Tula Pink did for the Fat Quarter Shop, and I found them the most useful. And also Tula Pink is hilarious, and I really like her style of teaching, or her style of working. It's very effectively grand, sort of, but like American. So I am not entirely sure what I want to do with this. I was thinking about covering a poof, but I don't think I'll be very good at the upholstery bit. But I could just go bigger and bigger and bigger and make I've kind of got varieties of pinks and blues. I've got more pinks, more kind of brights and pinks than I do blues. So I've been kind of making flowers with the dark. So I've got a dark center here, a blue center here, and then colors out here, blue center, colors out here. So like, and you see there's another little flower shape here. So I've kind of been making those. I messed up a few places, but that's fine. I don't really care too much. But she's sleeping. She wake. She's sleeping. Okay. There's a foot. I need to make some socks. But like long socks that go up to her knees, because then they stay on. They don't, but sometimes they do. So yeah, I don't really know what to do. I was thinking about making something, I don't know. I think I'll just keep going because it's fairly mindless. It's kind of like garter stitch. It's very potato chippy. A lot of people have questions actually about this. So how do you do it and what happens? Oh, great. I've got a little thing here. So as you can see here, I've got all my paper pieces along the outside rows, and on the inside, the paper pieces are gone. How do you take them out? So I've glued most of them, then I ran out of glue. And then what I did was I actually sewed, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I actually sewed them into place. Have I got any other ones that are sewn? I sewed all the dark ones. Oh, here. Now, if you see in this one here, I've sewn the corners and I've got it a little bit. You can actually sew the ones that aren't the exact shape a little bit easier, and you can actually get them out easier as well. So this one here needs to be sewn here. I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I take this out. It's super simple. Okay, so I've just sewn those two together. Which one? Yeah, this one here. The light is terribly in there. So I basically pinch those together, and then just sewed across the top. Why is this so difficult? There we go. So I've actually trapped the tail in the stitches as well. That looks so neat. I'm basically showing you this because it's my neatest one. Like, they're not too bad. So yeah, I'm trapping the tails. I'm very proud of that, trapping the tails. That was a tulip pink hint. And I used dark yarn there because, again, I just ran out of the white. It doesn't really matter, you won't see it. Actually, let's test if you will see it. That's a great question, Grace. No, you don't see it. Like, God help us if you can see it. Big rant. So now we're going to take out this bit of stuff. I'm just going to put it on you there, pet. Sorry now. Thanks. So you basically go in with your fingernail. Just pull it out. Now these ones, some people stitch right through the templates, and in that case, you actually you cut the it's not yarn, the thread, and you pull that out, and then you take the template out. But I couldn't be arsed with all the threads afterwards, so I'm just leaving them all in. So I just sewed through the fabric. However, I have had some difficulty with the cards popping out too early, if you know what I mean. And that has happened when I've used, I've done it on these sort of things. You see the way this is flipping up? There's a danger that of that popping out, so I'll need to sew that pretty quickly, because the more I move and shake it and fold it and put it back in and all that jazz, the more likely it is to come out. I am on the hunt for the glue, and I was speaking to somebody about maybe getting the thin Pritt stick. I think that'll work fine too. What do you think, Carly? Yeah? Yeah, I think so too. That's a great point. Great point. Okay, so I got her down and I'm going to do the laundry. This sheet of darkness needs to get out of the way because that view is too pretty. I'm on feed number 3 since we moved into the kitchen. I managed to... What did I do? I think I did some cleaning. And I sorted out the kitchen. Yes, I did. I cleaned the kitchen and I put away the laundry, and yes, now we're 2 hours later, 2 more feeds down. And so I just looked into my question box on Instagram, and Meg Makes had a very interesting question. She said, has your she said something like, I can't remember now because it's on my phone, I can't read exactly, but she was like, has what you want to make changed since she's arrived? She was like, less sewing, like it looks like less sewing, less knitting, less weaving, less spinning, more sewing, if you know what I mean. And yes, definitely yes. I have kind of totally lost the weaving mojo since I was pregnant, actually, because I normally weave with the rigid headed loom, a small rigid headed loom on my lap, and the actual bar pressing into my tummy. And when I was pregnant, obviously I couldn't really do that. It wasn't comfortable. So I haven't woven in a long time. I do, however, want to sew with the woven fabrics that I have made, and I have a lot of them to do. So that kind of got me into the idea of sewing. Spinning, I haven't spun in a long time either, because I had quite severe pelvic girdle pain, and I have a double treadle wheel. Now it was just unmanageable really, because I had hip and pelvic girdle pain when I was pregnant, and I haven't really got the urge to try it, even though it was Tour de Fleece. I really enjoyed watching everyone's Tour de Fleece. And so that leaves knitting and sewing really. And so I was knitting away, but I did kind of lose a bit of knit Joe, although I really liked working through some of my whips. I really enjoyed that. I still want to work through some of the whips that I have, but at the moment I'm kind of so I was working through my whips before I got to 30 weeks, and then when 30 weeks hit, I was like, okay, she's safe now. I'm gonna make some stuff for this baby. So that's when I started making the quilt for her, and that's when I started knitting the little snake that I showed earlier. We call it a snake because it's green, but it's a little swaddle tube. And yeah, so I felt comfortable making things for her, and I made a little pair of socks, and I made a little cardigan, which I haven't put on her yet. I must put that on her. I need to sew a button on that. I put it away and then just didn't look at it again. But it's the summer. It's not been cold enough for although it's raining miserable today. It's Bank Holiday Monday. And yeah, so I hope she wants to be in the video. 1 second. So Meg, it has changed as I go through things, as we go through. So at the moment, sewing is handy because, it's handy because I can put her down, and then I set up, I've set up the table, so it's like always ready because we're not really sitting down for dinners. What's happening there? Weaving, I haven't really gotten back to yet because I want to actually hang my weaving up here on this corner like I had it in the old house, and also weaving takes a little bit of setup, which I'm just not quite, I feel like the sewing has me set up first for a while, and I also feel like I do need to deal with the weaving that I have first, like the weaving garments that I have. All right, I think we need to switch boobs. Well, yes? Are you still hungry? Are you just messing about? Am I your play? I'm her favorite plaything. Oh my god! A friend brought over like one of these little bouncer things, which apparently is fine from birth, and she seems to fit in it. That might keep her entertained for 22 seconds. That'd be great. Have a cup of tea. So, what was I talking about? Yeah. So things have changed. Like my desire to do, but like I get like interested in different things all the time. So I don't know if it's directly to do with her. I mean, obviously, I think it has, because it's to do with convenience and time and things like that. With the weaving, you do need like maybe 3 hours together to set it up, and it's not exactly like you can set it up, you can start setting it up and then leave it for a long time, because the cats would also be all over it. So if I leave something warped up and then I have to drop everything to pick her up or feed her or whatever, then the cats will have the warp absolutely destroyed by the time I look at it. So weaving is probably off the table for a little while. Excuse me. But oh, bless you. Yeah, but spinning would definitely come back. Definitely, I think. Because that's fairly simple. I can leave it, I can, it's easy to put up and put down. Yeah, and someone else actually asked, have you introduced the baby to the spinning wheel? It's very rhythmic, it might put her to sleep. And I was like, ooh, actually, like if she's in this bouncer facing me while spinning, that would be really interesting to see how I don't think her vision is that good yet now, to be honest. We're still 12 inches black and white images sort of job, so probably not yet. Her eyes are crossing even now, like, so maybe in a few weeks, months, I don't know when that starts. I should really know that, shouldn't I? Oh look, oh god, God. Clicky. Oh, the amount of sitting down you do. The sitting. Oh, my arse. Yeah, so do you know what I'm going to do actually? So this is the quilt that I made, and I'm just going to put it here, and then maybe she'll be able to see that if I put that facing there, and it could be like a good black and white contrast for her. Success. Nice. Okay. So I made a cup of tea and I hated it. My tastes have all changed. It's fun. Yeah, so what was I gonna do? I could finish off. I had an idea to mark her out on this paper for a baby swaddle. You know, the baby swaddle, I can't remember the name of it now, but Close to Me swaddle or something, where it's got space for the arms to go up. Now the only thing is I don't have a long enough zip. I don't have poppers either. But sure, I could start the pattern. So maybe when she starts getting a bit unsettled, I might put her up there and mark her out before I change her nappy or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, she seems settled for a minute. Oh, look at these tiny blocks. So, right. Okay, I'm gonna start doing this quilt. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so, oh, by the way, this is my little tum-tum a month after. She's in black at the moment, and she's actually being kept in. So this is actually my tum-tum. I love her. She's done a lot. Now, so where was I? Can you see me? Hi. We'll see if I get any time. Now, I've actually been sewing as when she's in the room sleeping with me. She's actually kind of used to the sound, I think, which is amazing. So this is one of the quilts, little baby quilt, and I just used kind of a grey, but it's a kind of a purpley grey. It's actually just a bed sheet, an old bed sheet of mine. We got a new bed, and a lot of the sheets that we had don't fit any of the beds that we have anymore. So it's actually quite handy. So I've got these gardening gloves. I was speaking about it before, wasn't I? So that's fine. Okay. So this is where we are. I don't know if you can see where I've quilted, but I've quilted, it's probably easier to see on the back here, maybe not. I've quilted from the center out. I always wondered how you actually do it, but I think so for the other quilts that I made, I always did the edge first and then went inside, and that's a bad idea because if you go from the center and quilt out from the center, then you're flattening it out as you go. Whereas if you go all the way around like a jigsaw, like you finish the edges first, like a jigsaw, like if things aren't perfectly laid flat and you sew, it's going to end up with like creases and stuff at the edges, which I didn't realize, but now I do. Oh my god, at times I always tend to get exhausted about 5 o'clock. Oh my god, it's 6 o'clock. It's past my bedtime. Actually, it's good that she's not sleeping right now, because then it kind of makes sure she's a little bit more sleepy for the night time. Anyway, let's go on to time lapse for this. You don't need to see it. Oh no, I can't stop it because my gloves. So I am sewing here up and down, and I'm actually just sewing along the lines. I'm just doing a line of stitches either side of both seam of the seam. Every seam that you can see gets a little bit bulky. As you can see, I'm kind of accordion folding it up as I push it through, and I'm flipping it around quite a lot. I popped her up onto the table here just because she was getting a little bit antsy, and I also fancied keeping an eye on her because I was kept on turning around my head. You can also, I don't know if you can see, but every so often I'm correcting my posture because as I'm looking at it now, I am really hunched. No wonder my shoulders are so weak. Oh, goodness gracious. So, you know that thing where you can see the end of a project in sight, or the edge of the step of the project in sight, and you just want to keep go. I can't do that anymore because I have less energy, and also I'm super thirsty. So before I would have just kept going and not drank, and suddenly it's dark outside. Now, as well as herself, that stops me from doing that, I also have to stop myself. That's her pterodactyl noises there. Oh, she must have dropped her dodie. No, she's okay. Yeah, so I have to be a little bit conscious of that, a little bit more conscious of my energy levels. And I'm also gasping, but I made a cup of tea. I made a flask of tea out of a tea that I used to absolutely love called Focus. And I totally hate it now. So sad. So, and I just ran out of my nice chamomile tea. I'm so sad. But I still do have some red raspberry leaf tea, which is apparently really good for postpartum as well as coming up to the end of pregnancy too. So I'm going to make another flask of tea. What do you think? Yeah, good idea. Back again. Now, do you know what I'm going to do? I don't know how many feeds this is. I lose track. I just feed her. Yes?
Oh, what are you talking to me?
No, talking to them. My followers, my people. James is great. He's like, yes, can I do anything? Bless him. Bless him. Weather is ridiculous, and because we've just moved into a house with a fire. We were like, oh, we like the fire. It's so cold, and then we're both wearing shorts and t-shirts. We were like, why won't we just put on some clothes? Idiots. Anyway, the fire is still such a novelty, so.
Shorts and t-shirts with the windows open.
Sure. Yeah, we could start there. Oh, I wonder why this weather is so terrible, because of all the climate change, because of idiots like us. Anyway, we didn't like the fire. As for finding making time, I hope you're seeing from this little vlog that it's just literally in between things, and it's just having it all set up now. This will change massively once baby's on the go and can start grabbing things. Then I'm going to have to rethink my whole strategy, because everything's going to have to be kept like safe away from them. So I think that might be the time when I might do some knitting instead, or I might do some spinning maybe. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. But yeah, this mum said that she has a 5-month-old and she hasn't managed to kind of balance the time. And I was like, I feel like there's no real balance. Do you know, I started listening to this podcast called A Little Pinch of Magic. It's lovely, really nice kind of audio podcast about kind of bringing kind of a little bit of magic into your life every day. And it's kind of to do with like seasonal change. And there was a podcast I was listening to around the spring solstice, when the day is even. is it May Day? I can't remember. Anyway, it's not May Day. I can't remember when it is, but it's the day. It's when the day is when the day that there's as much daytime as there is nighttime. And there is it's funny, people say, oh, you know, balance in life, you have to have a balance. And in nature, there's literally only 2 days in the whole year where there's balance. And then the rest of the time, there is stuff that's moving and turning, and other stuff that's growing, and other stuff that's dying. And there's a lot of things that are happening all the time. And very rarely is anything balanced in nature. There is, you know, there is a eventual balance, an eventual settling out. So, you know, in the whole year, there is a balance, you know, that there's been the same amount of dark as there has light. There's been growth, there's been death, there's been rebirth, there's been kind of a quietening of the evening. There's been a growing in the springtime. There's been a lushness in the summer. And then there's kind of a rest period in the winter. And I really like that thought that there are periods in our life when things are very busy and growing and fast-paced, and every day you look outside and there's something new in the garden, or you've got lots going on because it's, you know, a busy time because it's lovely weather and the evenings are long and you've got loads of things going on. And then coming into winter, you're feeling this more kind of cozy, kind of more closed in, kind of sitting on the couch, kind of more contemplative, kind of less going on type of time. So finding balance between doing what you need to do to make sure that you keep a small human alive and entertain them and love them, and also have time for you to make sure that you get enough of your creativity and your things that keep you sane, because you're also yourself as well as a mother and a carer. That can be tricky, obviously. So there are some points in the day when I feel like, oh, she just wants me all the time. I'm just never, you know, will she ever settle? Will she ever settle so I can go and do something for myself? And it's at that point that I'm, you know, you get a bit like overwhelmed and fed up, and you're like, oh God, this is never going to end. She's constantly needing me all the time. Now, at the moment, she sleeps a lot. So I don't know how this is going to go as I move through, but I think it's quite important that I remember, even when she is just sleeping for a little while, just to do something for me instead of just running around and doing all the jobs. Sometimes the jobs can just wait. At the moment, I'm spending hours and hours and hours and hours under her and looking around at all the things that need to be done. And then the second she goes down, I'm like, oh, right, ready to go. But instead, I find that I just sit there on Instagram, the same thing that I have been doing while I've been under her. So I need to find a balance of that as well, to kind of unplug myself from the phone once she's unplugged herself from me. That's a funny thing that I've noticed happening the last couple of days. And it's just a cycle that you get into. You're like, oh, finally a bit of peace. I'm just going to go on my phone. And I'm like, I'm talking to myself now. You've been on your phone the whole time that she's been breastfeeding. You've read the internet. You know what's on there. How about you get up and do something nice instead? Get something nice to eat or whatever. And then I'm always like afraid to leave her as well. So I have to remember that there are healthy ways of spending time. That's me time, which is my crafting, which is making something nice to eat. I really enjoy cooking. Or even, you know, a bit of self-care is a bit of tidying sometimes. You know, it makes me feel better once it's done, but it's just crap to go and get it done, really. But yeah, I have to try and get off the scrolling of the phone for A, the cost of it, and B, that sort of like time is precious sort of feeling. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about this balance in motherhood? I haven't even, I don't have to think about work yet, thank God. So that's a whole different situation, because literally week by week she's changing, her needs are changing. So I think just being flexible, surrendering a little bit to the process of her growing and changing and her needing me all the time, and the process of motherhood, because I've never done this before. I don't know how to do it. I'm learning every day, and I'm just giving myself a little bit of grace, I guess. If anyone is going through this or worried about it, if you're pregnant and worried about it, I found learning the concept of matrescence to be so like a relief almost. So matrescence is basically the process of a woman turning into a mother, a person turning into a parent, basically, but particularly the mother aspect. It's how the body changes, the hormonal changes that go on, but it's effectively, I think it is that over a period of maybe 5 to 7 years, the changes that a woman goes through as she becomes a mother and learns how to be a mother hormonally is way more intense than the 5 to 6 years that adolescence takes. It's effectively the same system, but we're expected to figure it out within 6 weeks and get on with it and go back to work and do everything. So I'm giving myself 5 to 7 years. And we had like high school and secondary school, and we were kind of supported through that by being like, oh, they're just teenagers, and everyone kind of knew that this is how, that it was difficult and there was lots of hormones racing around. But mothers are kind of expected just to know inherently, like there's a process of learning, and it takes time, and my whole brain has changed and rewired, and it's going to continually do that. And so I'm just giving myself a break, really. And in my teenagerhood, I wrote like thousands and thousands of pages of Harry Potter fan fiction. So in my matrescence, I'm just going to make thousands and thousands and thousands of really nice, cute things that make me feel good, because sometimes it can kick your ass. Mental health is very important, because this little one depends on me a lot. Depends on James too, but me at the moment, way more. So that's it. I think I'm probably gonna hold up here. I'm probably gonna stop this vlog now. I'm gonna probably go to sleep and watch the Love Island final. Go have a nap and watch the Love Island final at 9. It's about 7:10 now. So she'll probably finish her feed at like half, maybe. And she's sleeping now, so she could finish it now if she was any good. She's very good. That's just a phrase. No, she's not finished. Okay. Well, listen, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was interesting. If you have any more questions, please leave them down below and I'll answer them in a following vlog. So yeah, this is my crafting in the 4th trimester series. I don't know when it's going to finish. Probably never will. But yeah, thanks so much. Bye. From the both of us. Bye.